Welcome back. As always, be sure to leave a comment if you have anything out of this video. Now that that's out of the way, let's jump right into the video. So we are so close to the launch of the next console generation. It's kind of bizarre to think because it's been just such a weird year. And the way they've been hyping up these consoles, there's no events anymore. It's all just live streams and videos and trailers and stuff. So it's really just kind of crazy, the just bizarre cycle we've had. So it's bizarre to think that we have less than a month at the time of making this video for the next consoles. But because current gen really is still pretty good, and a lot of other factors, it really brings up the question, is it worth getting a new console? And if so, which of the four should you get? So that's what this video is going to be all talking about. Let's jump right into it. So the first big question you gotta ask yourself with next gen is, are you even gonna get it? Should you wait a month? Should you wait a year? Should you just skip the whole generation? Obviously it all comes down to personal preference, like a lot of this video is gonna be. But me personally, I am gonna get it day one. Because I've been excited, I've been saving up, I have the money ready, and I just really want next gen. However, when you look at it logically, and this may sound hypocritical, but when you look at it logically, there really is no reason to invest in it yet. Both Sony and Microsoft said they're going to support current gen for at least a good year or so. All the games that are coming out on next gen, or at least most of them, are said to be available on current gen, just obviously a downgraded version. But for most people, that's really not a big deal. So really there is logically no reason to get current gen yet, especially when you factor in the fact that a lot of times the first batch of consoles always seem to have issues in the past generations. There's always just weird hardware stuff they haven't quite worked out, that usually gets worked out after the first year-ish into this generation cycle. So it's a really huge gamble buying day one. And with current gen still being pretty damn good, there's not a huge push to invest in next gen. However, like I said, I am going to get a next-gen console as soon as I can because I've been really excited, and there are a lot of promising things with it. Now, yes, I can play those games on my current console, but they're definitely not going to be as good graphically, animation-wise. Everything is going to be just a lesser version, and I want to put in the money to get the best game experience I can on console, because I just am a console player. So there still is a reason to buy next gen. You want the quicker load times. You want the better graphics. You want the smoother animations. You want really to future-proof yourself, because from now on, every game, past the first few months or first year, will be next gen exclusive because that's just the way things are. So it is definitely worth the investment if you have the money, but really, logically look at it, there is no reason to. But the rest of this video is going to be covering if you decide to buy a next-gen console. So you decide to get a next-gen console. The next big question should be, which brand are you going with, Xbox versus PlayStation? Now, assuming you have no brand loyalty, let's just say this is your first console, going in blind, you have no relations with Xbox or PlayStation, whatever. Going into this, which brand should you go with? Because both have pros and both have cons. Starting off, let's just say specs-wise, these are the same consoles. Because let's be honest, the Series X at least versus the PS5, you can go into the specifics, say, oh, well, Xbox has certain more fucking... Who cares, alright? It does not matter. Because when you play the game in these new machines, it will look great, essentially. Alright, if you have a really comparison video, have them side by side, you might see a difference, but when you're playing the game in particular, you're not going to be able to tell. Unless you have a super keen eye or whatever, you're not going to be able to tell the difference between these machines. So really, specs don't matter. Just know you're getting the best we can do right now with either one of these. So really, it all comes down to what games you'll be able to play on which machine. Now, starting with Xbox, the Game Pass is phenomenal. For an insanely reasonable price, honestly almost too cheap, you get a huge library of games, and that's really what they're pushing with the next gen. Price might hike up, but honestly, I don't think it'll be too ridiculous, because what they got going with Game Pass is phenomenal. If you have a really tight budget, but still want next gen, Xbox would probably be the way to go if you're okay with playing older games. If you want the newest and the best, well, it's really going to come down to what actually is going to be available on the Xbox, because PlayStation and Sony still seem to be dominating the exclusive market. But if you just want a game or machine that can play older games with a huge variety for the cheapest you can get it, Xbox is definitely the way to go, because their Game Pass is phenomenal. However, that being said, they don't have the Sony exclusive games, which Sony has been knocking out of the park this generation, the current gen, with their exclusives, and it seems to not be stopping when the PS5 launches. Just day one having Miles and Horizon just around the corner, it's going to be an amazing generation for PlayStation fans. Now, not to say that Xbox has nothing, because that huge Bethesda deal they just got, I'm sure is going to bring up tons of stuff in the future, and Halo is still a massive IP. But with that being delayed, and who knows when it's actually going to come out, it's really up in the air what Xbox is going to have day one and beyond that. So it's really tricky to pin what games you'll be able to play next gen on Xbox. Sony's is probably the safer bet to go with if you just want the newest, best games, because Sony's just has insane exclusives. And Halo really is not as big of a system seller as it used to be. It feels like painful to say that because Halo is such a great franchise, but it just doesn't look pretty anymore. I don't know. I'll do PlayStation in the next section, but let's say for now that you decide you want next gen and you want to get an Xbox. But which one should you get, the Series S or the Series X? Now, I genuinely don't understand the point of the Series S. Now, that might just be me. And I know I said if you're buying next gen, you're going to get a next gen experience, but the Series S just does not seem like it's going to be a next gen experience. I'm not going to go too details in the specs because I'll be honest, I don't understand it personally myself. I'm not a huge computer guy, but it seems just as powerful, if not slightly less, than the Pro versions of the current consoles we have now. So if you have an Xbox One X, you already have essentially a Series S. So why would they market this as a next-gen console? Obviously, it's just so a much cheaper option. So if you want next gen, but don't have the money, and you want to go with Game Pass route, but you just need a machine for that, then yeah, the Series S is what to go for if you just want to use it as a Game Pass machine. But I really can't imagine much games, probably 2, maybe 3 years out. I don't think this machine will be able to handle it, or it'll be insanely bogged down. Like, it'll be such a worse version that you might as well buy an Xbox One X. So it really does baffle me, this marketing move. I guess I understand just to go with the whole, cheaper option, whatever. That's fine. But it's just kind of bizarre, So I would really recommend, if you want to go the Xbox route, you want Game Pass, you might as well get a Series X, because that's the one that's comparable specs-wise to the PS5. So that truly is the next-gen console Xbox has to offer. But it is more expensive. It's, I think, $200 more, so it is quite a bit to ask. But if you're going to invest in a next-gen console, you might as well just wait a little bit extra, save that extra money, and really get a next-gen console. I don't know why anyone would take this little half step they're trying to push here. It's just baffling to me. So you decide you want next-gen, and then you decide that you want to go with PlayStation. But which one should you go with, the disc version or the discless? Now, $100 is a huge difference for just having a disc drive. Like, it really is insane. Just the ability to put DVDs or, obviously game discs into a console would make $100 difference. Now, that being said, there is no point to having a disc drive anymore. The future is really digital, and that really makes me sad because I personally like discs. So honestly, I will be buying a disc version of the PS5. That is the next gen console of my personal choice. That's not to say any other choice is wrong. Obviously, I've put out enough reasons to buy any other version because, like I said, the future is digital. If you have digital games now and you just plan just buying digital games in the future, then there's definitely no reason to buy a disc version of the PS5. However, if you have a PS4 now, you can put those discs in and just play them on PS5, so you kind of need the disc drive for that if you have a lot of disc games for your PS4. But with this current generation, if you're not really a disc guy, then you don't have discs. So you're not going to have discs in the future. So it really comes down to, do you like discs? Buy a disc version. You're going to have to shell out the $100, and it really comes down to personal preference if you want to shell out that $100 just to be able to put a disc in. I personally am, but also I'm kind of insane. So that's just me. That really does it for this video. Moral of the story is there really is no reason to get next gen right away. Wait a year or until games actually start becoming next gen only. Unless if you got the money and you want to be a little guinea pig to see if these consoles are actually worth it, like I am, then obviously there's nothing wrong with buying a console because I plan on it, even though it goes against like every logic fiber in my being. But that's just me. As always, be sure to leave a comment if you have anything to add to this video. Do you guys plan on buying a next-gen console right away? Plan on waiting a year? Which one? Because I am genuinely curious. Like, if there actually is a reason to buy the Series S, if some of you guys are planning on buying that, let me know. Because I really, truly want to know. I don't understand why they made this at all. So yeah. Also, we should check out my channel, YC Games, and that about does it. Remember, the world doesn't have anything, but keep your stick on the ice. We're all in this together. See you in the next one. Bye.